I'm going to hit record.
Yeah, that's the idea. Uh-oh, I can't see anybody else.
I see Poppy coming in.
Oh, Poppy's popping up. Nice.
Hi, Emma.
There's Poppy.
Hi, Caitlin.
Hi, Poppy.
And Kylie.
Yes. Can you guys hear me?
I just made Kylie a host.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes. Okay. All right. Whew.
Kylie, you should be a host. It says that you're a host, but I still see a G on you.
I'll be whatever I need to be.
I don't know if Jason's still listening, if it's okay if she's got a G. I made her an H, but she's got a G. All right, I will not worry about it. All right, so we are recording. So thank you, Jason. Thank you to the Blab tech support team for making this happen. And hooray, we're all here. All right, so 12 minutes late, but but we're live, and we've already demonstrated teamwork in a big way. I just want to welcome everybody. We're going to make the introductions especially short and quick and sweet because we've got a lot of good content and good talking to do. I am recording this, so for everybody whose video is showing, you are being recorded. Folks who are watching, we'll have a recording to share. We'll probably share little snippets throughout as well. And you can log in with Twitter onto Blab and post questions in the chat sidebar on the right-hand side, or you can share your questions on Twitter if you want to just watch. And lurk and not let us know you're here. That's fine. We'll let you do that. You can then share questions if you want with the panelists by using Twitter and tweeting the hashtag SEL Challenge. And I'll put it in here for us. And we'll take those questions throughout. This is a very informal conversation. We're going to dive deep into the domain of teamwork and what it looks like on the ground in lived experiences. In programs with practitioners and young people. And very quickly, again, thanks for your patience. And this is the first in a series of video chats to get deeper into the domains that are designed to complement the toolkit and the guide and the series of webinars. These are, again, very informal. We want them to be conversational. We're going to ask a few questions, but we're also going to just have a conversation. And again, welcome your questions via Twitter or in the right-hand sidebar. If you have questions or challenges or any problems throughout, you can tweet us at SEL Challenge as well. I'm going to turn it over without any further ado. I'm just making sure we didn't miss anything. Blab will sometimes have some kinks. It's a powerful new beta platform that we're testing, so please bear with us as you have. I'll turn it over to Kylie to introduce our fantastic panelists and kick off the discussion. Okay, and then for everyone watching at home, Kylie's going to disappear and we're going to have some images in between the conversation as well.
Yep, great. Thanks, Caitlin. Hi, everyone. I'm Kylie with the Weikart Center, and I just want to quickly just give you a note of background that this work comes out of the SEL Challenge, which was a partnership between 8 exemplary out-of-school time programs, a national funder, and a set of researchers. And we produced this fantastic field guide, the Preparing Youth to Thrive field guide. And it is a resource for identifying promising practices for building social emotional learning. And so today we are going to hear directly from 2 of our exemplary programs. We're going to hear from Poppy Potter and Joey of Voyager Outward Bound in St. Paul, Minnesota. And we're going to hear from Emma and Josh of the Philadelphia Wooden Boat Factory in Philly. And both of their programs use a process of, for Voyager Outward Bound, outdoor education and wilderness challenges to develop character and leadership skills. And for the Philadelphia Wooden Boat Factory, it's a year-long program of in the winter and kind of cold months, building a boat and then setting sail through the summer. And again, building those leadership and teamwork skills. So I want to just get you guys started in the conversation. And then like Caitlin said, I'm going to pop out and be sharing some visuals, but I'm going to start out with Joey, and I'm going to we'll hear from both young people in terms of how you got connected to the program and got involved. So Joey, if you wouldn't mind starting us off, telling us a little bit about your involvement.
Well, so most of my involvement actually only started when I got into high school. So I began my freshman year at Rivers Edge Academy, which is actually partnered with Outward Bound. So they had Poppy here become my mentor, who she helped me out throughout my high school career pretty much. And essentially, my school had us go out on expeditions all the time. It started off twice a year, but due to funding, it became multiple mini expeditions and then one large week-long expedition. So, yeah.
Cool. And how many other folks are part of your program?
A lot.
Yeah.
How many students would you say are at your school, Joy?
It's a very small school, so there's usually, I've never seen any more than about 80 students throughout at a time. So
cool. All right, great. Well, and we're going to be hearing a little bit more from you all in terms of your work with Strive Forward. And we wanted to hear a note from Josh in terms of your involvement with Philadelphia Wooden Boat Factory. How did you get involved, Josh?
So my buddy Nick told me about it. So the Philadelphia Wooden Boat Factory came to my school, and I was not there during the class period that came. And my buddy Nick, he comes to me and he says, Josh, there's this cool place called Philadelphia Wooden Boat Factory, we build boats. And I was like, what? I didn't hear about it. So I go down to Captain Bell. He's one of the teachers there at Maritime. And he gave me all the contact information to Philly Wooden Boat, Victoria, who was an employee here. And that's how I started coming.
Great. Cool. Thank you. And how long have you been involved?
Approaching my second year.
Okay, cool. Great. Thanks. And Caitlin, do you want to kind of continue the conversation, and I'll go ahead and start sharing some visuals?
Yeah, that sounds great. Poppy, are you able to see Emma and hear Emma and Josh?
I'm not. So you're our central point.
Okay, all right. I may have you guys refresh as we start the conversation. And again, for folks watching, thanks for being patient with the platform, with Blab. We're testing this great, potentially wonderful software that has some kinks as they work things out. But
I'm going to go ahead and refresh.
Yep, go ahead and do that. Thank you. And Kylie is intentionally dropping off because she's going to show some visuals. And now, as folks are logging back in, the conversation today is all about teamwork, and I'm going to wait till everyone can hear us before we ask the question.
I can hear you, Caitlin.
Great.
I got you.
Awesome. Hooray. And then we'll start seeing some images in that fourth box in a little bit. But as we think about teamwork, it's kind of a word that gets thrown around all the time. And I'd love to hear from you guys, particularly from Josh and Joey, about what it really means in action and what your experience was with teamwork. How explicit was this sort of the idea of building teamwork skills, and what did it mean to you? What did it look like while you guys were doing this this work in your programs?
Josh, if you want to start, you can.
Yeah, let's start with Josh.
Oh, so teamwork. So this program particularly has really influenced my, I guess, knowledge or experience with it. Throughout the factory, it's nothing but teamwork. This boat cannot get done without all of our efforts together. Now, that's not necessarily us doing the same project together. No. Some of us can, because some of us will be working on the transom, the other chopping out a rabbit on the keel, the other working on the stem. But all of that, even though we aren't necessarily together, working together, right next to each other, we are still showing that teamwork, because at the end, we bring that all together, and which makes these beautiful boats.
That's great.
As you can see these images.
Yep, so we're seeing some images of the boat working now. And when you think about it, so Poppy's coming back. But Josh, a little bit more about that. So everyone's got different roles, and how explicit are you about the goals that you're working towards, and how was there a time where you had to sort of manage diverse viewpoints, diverse opinions, or something came up and you really had to figure out how to pull together to finish, to get to the goal?
Yes. So there are different ways about going about different problems. So you look at your work, and you're given what you have to do. Now, it is up to you to sort of figure out what is the best method of doing it, what is the fastest yet precise method maybe. So you really have that control of how you do it. So at the end of the day, when it's done, it's the best it can be to your ability.
That's great.
Ever?
Poppy, sorry, yeah, please go ahead, Emma.
I was just gonna ask if anybody ever like disagreed with a way that you might have gone about doing something and how you sort of reconciled that.
Oh yes. So I'll give you an example. When chopping down rabbit, so some people can grab their chisel and start wailing away as hard as they can, and that's a fast, efficient method. Maybe not so precise. Another person could want to take their time and really get that rabbit as perfectly shaped as possible. Another person could choose a plain rabbit. Now, these methods can be either, oh, I don't think that's how you should do it, or not. It could be like that, or you could talk with your other students and give their method a try. And I've seen that. I've seen that before. A student here once broke the grip of a chisel by banging really hard on it, and then the next right after that, he decided to switch to planing the rabbit down. He gave that a try.
So using a totally different tool, but still being a part of the team, right? On the same, working on the same project.
Cool. And Poppy, I don't know if you guys want to jump into. Was there a time for you when teamwork was sort of especially challenging? And Joey, I'm looking at you. Especially challenging, or a specific example of kind of how you managed in the context of the program to include and react to and respond to all of the diverse viewpoints and perspectives and folks who were trying to work together for a common goal.
So, when we're out on expedition, usually we're in close quarters together for an extended period of time. So there's hardly a time where one of us is not around another. So that can sometimes create tension within the group, especially if you have people that you don't particularly work well with normally. But the thing about that is that while we're out on trail, it makes it so that we're all in this strenuous, difficult challenge together. So it leaves almost no other choice but to work together. And in the long term, it actually creates better bonds between the team members and the crew. Like there was one time where it was towards the end of our one of our expeditions. We got to this camp, but it was like really cold, really wet, really rainy, stuff like that. Weather conditions were horrible. There was mud everywhere, and nerves were getting kind of high. People were snapping at each other, but it wasn't really to be mean. It was because, the weather and everything. We've been walking all day.
Stress of the situation.
Yeah, but despite that, we all helped each other pitch tents, got whatever dry wood and stuff we could find, got food situations set up, and we had all these specific jobs for each team member so that we can get things done in the most efficient fashion. And so the motto really was that nobody's done until everybody's done. So nobody got to rest until everybody had finished their task. And if you were done with your task, then you go on and help somebody else with theirs.
Was that something that you had agreed to ahead of time, or did that motto come out of that experience?
That was something that we kind of agreed to ahead of time, but it was strengthened by experience. So it was something that developed more and more as we went along.
That's great.
That's awesome.
Cleaning up.
That's awesome. Say that again, Emma.
Oh, I was just sort of joking. I said that's our motto with cleaning up the shop.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, when we're on expedition, we have not only our own gear to carry, but we also have team gear. So it's like tents and utensils and food and just, garbage that we have to carry out with us. And so, yeah.
You're always kind of carrying a load with the team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's cool. Sorry, Joey, say that again.
I said everybody takes their fair share.
And it's also cool that you guys are going into, like, you're physically going into rugged terrain, but you're also going into potential challenges and conflicts and all the dynamics that are existing in the group rather than shying away from them and trying to avoid them. You go into them and you make it work. And that's a critical skill in any team.
No team is actually really inherently perfect. Everybody has to work at it, but that's what makes a team really.
And that's part of our structural design or our program design, that we put both individuals and groups into a challenging situation so that they grow not just individually but also together, and they're kind of on this parallel track of building individual strengths and building the team strengths. And some of the roles that Joey talked about are an intentional part of how we structure our programs so that everybody understands their leadership role for the day, which could be cooking, it could be tents, it could be navigating, could be a lot of different things. But that's really designed to help them understand how those roles come together to help them create a common goal and common vision together.
And everybody rotates roles? Are they different roles each day?
Day by day, we'll wake up in the morning, we'll go through the plan of what we're going to do and how we're going to do it and who's going to be in charge of what. That way we don't get complacent in the role that we're in. So it kind of makes us change up what we need to do to develop different skills. So
cool.
Yeah. Emma, I see you nodding your head. Do you have something similar at the boat factory?
Yeah, so every day, so we have this blackboard, and it has a set of jobs for the day, and every day the students come in and they fill out which job they would like to take on. So they just write their name inside the space. Some jobs take one person, some jobs take two people, some jobs take as much as 4 to 6 people, depending on what the work is.
Yeah, and just like you were saying, Poppy, one of the things that we do specifically on that board is that each job is sort of listed with the physical tools that the student will need to use, and then also sort of the emotional tools as well. So Josh was talking earlier about what's called cutting a rabbit, which is done with a chisel and a mallet, right? And so that takes strength and also precision.
Right.
And so if a student comes in and is feeling really angry that day, then they might want to do the strength part of it and will need to be aware of how much, they need to restrict some of that anger in order to also be precise. So it helps to give them a little bit of a guide as to what will be required of them in each job and who else is going to be working on that to bring it back to teamwork. That some of the students, as Joey was saying, some of the students know that they work well with certain others and maybe not quite as well with certain other peers. And so they can also choose jobs where they're working with a particular staff member or a particular other students or a particular set of tools. And I think that helps each day to feel a little bit different and to change up the team a bit as well.
That's great. Yeah, Joy, do you want to talk a little bit about the concept of final expedition and the fact that the instructors are trying to build your team so that you guys can act independently of us?
Yeah, so essentially the whole premise of the expedition actually is not for the instructors to be in charge the whole time. The ideal goal is for the students to be able to work on their own as a team. So by the end of the trip, we're no longer relying on the instructors for like a support. It's kind of like taking a kid and holding onto their bike until they can go by themselves.
That's right. That's a good metaphor.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I don't know how it is with boat building, but do you guys have anything similar? Or
What do you think?
Well, so we always like to give the student the chance to take charge. So the instructors are always there for if you need help, how to do this, how to do that. But should a problem arise, we like our students to first ask another student to see if they can't figure it out together. And some students they like to be that one that says, okay guys, hold up, we don't really need Zeus right now. I think that if our minds come together, we can accomplish this. We can figure out how to the best way to do this. So that's yes.
We also, I'll give Josh a little bit more credit than he's giving himself. He's quite a skilled member of our shop and is finishing his second full academic year. And so as we get new students who enroll mid-year, they come in never having handled a drill or a chisel, and oftentimes instead of saying, oh, Jesus, our boat building program director, why don't you take this student through a proper tool training? We say, hey Josh, why don't you buddy up and help this person learn how to find their way around the shop? It's quite good.
Yeah,
That's great.
that kind of sounds like what we have on trail, because a lot of the students come from urban settings and they don't really get out much to the wilderness. So those of us that do have some sort of experience are kind of responsible for making sure that they know what they're doing and safety and stuff like that, and just show them the ropes.
Yeah.
Literally sometimes too, show them the ropes. But.
We have a saying at Outward Bound that one of our founders who brought Outward Bound to the United States used, and that was the phrase "crew, not passengers." So it's a concept that we're all together in this, and everybody has a responsibility towards a team, and so that nobody should be a passenger in this process. And I think the expedition or the team building activities that we do with them really help that concept develop of crew, not passengers, and how do you take ownership for this experience?
That's fantastic. I'm curious to know, so we've talked a lot about the structure, which is really important, and how you're intentionally structuring it. Joey and Josh, I'd love to know from you how much of this is explicitly clear, and how much do you sort of get the sense that, okay, we're working on teamwork and any other sort of skills, and how much of it is just it's all part of one and the same? And then among you and your peers, how much do you talk about these specific skills? Like, did teamwork or some synonym to teamwork ever come up?
Well, so that's a funny thing. So when I think teamwork, I don't really imagine it, only because teamwork is something that I believe will happen a little subconsciously. When we can get a group of students together and we can tell one of us, each of us, what we can do, and then from there, it's up to them if they want to help that person or ask that person for advice, or if they want to show someone how to do something else. And when they can do that, just sort of like subconsciously, like that's what they need to do in order to make this a reality, I think that's what really teamwork is. I don't think people will come together and say, okay, this is teamwork, we're going to do teamwork. No, I think it's more, okay, we're coming together and we're going to build this and we're going to share each other's strengths and weaknesses to get this.
What would you say about that, Joey?
I actually kind of agree with him. Like for us, it wasn't really something we really discussed normally. It was more of an unspoken thing where we just did it to get things done. And through that, our teamwork kind of strengthened because we get in the role of things, and it just comes naturally for the most part. So.
Yeah. What about when it doesn't come naturally? I'm curious for you guys, if you have a day where you're in a role that you just are not feeling that day, or you hate what you're doing, what did you each individually do to kind of pull through and stay a productive member of the team in those kinds of moments? And how, what did you do? And is that something that you've sort of used in other areas of your life?
We mostly use things like encouragement, or we offer to help with the task if it's particularly grueling for the person to do. Like there have been occasions where somebody was feeling a bit sore from the last day, or they can't carry the weight, so one of the stronger members will carry like an extra bag or food or something out of their pack, to help them out. Sometimes it's through discussion and just talking to them and being like, hey, what's up? You're
Can you think of a time that your team wasn't functioning very well, and how you guys kind of figured it out or came together to change that? Because there's highs and lows on every experience.
Yeah. There was a particular time when one of the crew members was having difficulty with their role of what was it? I think it was cooking. Where they weren't particularly hot about it. So we kind of sat there, had a talk, like, hey, we all got our jobs to do. We all got things to do. Just your job's just for today right now. So, you got it. We'll help you if you need it, but just push through for now, and it'll get better later once you have a job that you actually like and stuff.
Awesome.
So it's mostly a perseverance thing.
Yeah, that's cool.
So,
Josh, what about you?
Well, see, if I'm ever feeling sort of like it's a low day, I like to think of the bigger picture. I like to think, okay, though I'm not feeling the best right now, I got to get something. I have a criteria, I have a job to do, I have to get that done. Whatever I'm feeling, I have to just push aside for the couple of hours, or push aside for however long I'm working, and get what I have to get done. And I can't speak for everyone at the boat factory, but that's personally how I like to deal with it. And if I see it and people aren't okay, so if I see someone's like having a down day, or someone is just not feeling it, and they can't function at 100%. I will try my best to walk up to them, and I will either talk to them, to give them just aid in their work, but always constantly remind them that there is a bigger picture, and we have to get that criteria done.
So you really keep the goal in mind.
Sorry?
You really keep the goal in mind.
Yes.
I'm going to do a quick time check. We have about 5 more minutes since we started late. And so it's not much time. I feel like I have tons of questions, and I think you probably have questions for each other. I love this discussion. It's very rich. I'm curious. I'm going to ask one more question of Joey and Josh, and then I have one more question for Poppy and Emma as practitioners. But Joey and Josh, you guys just sound like you're very reflective. You just sound like wonderful collaborators and great team members. When you came into Voyager Outward Bound and the Philadelphia Wooden Boat Factory, did you think of yourselves as like, I'm a team player, I'm a good collaborator? Did you have that as a sense of self? And if you didn't, do you now?
So when I first came in, I wasn't really super social person. I'm actually inherently an introverted person. But throughout my years working with Outward Bound, it kind of became to a point where my team, not without me asking for it, but they kind of sort of elected me their leader because I've had a lot of experience outdoors, so they kind of look to me for information and what to do and stuff like that. And that kind of helped me come out of my shell a bit and become more of a team player. So, yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So how would you say you see yourself now? Do you see yourself as a collaborator and as a team contributor?
I think I got better at it. I don't think I really had issues with working with a team before, but I became a better facilitator. Mostly just to keep things moving.
That's great.
That is great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And Josh, I think you probably missed a bunch of that, but Joey was just saying he didn't really think he was introverted and didn't really think that was a skill, and now does feel a lot more confident about it, and as a facilitator. That he had a much more eloquent way of saying it. But.
So similar. When I first came to the Philadelphia Women's Flow Factory, I didn't mind working with other people. I enjoyed it, but what I was lacking a lot was self-confidence, and that limited me. That limited me of how much I could do and how much I could do with other people. The factory, however, had a way of just infusing that confidence inside me. I don't. So like just working there throughout the day, seeing how everyone wants you to help them and everyone wants to work with you, and how everyone trusts you to get a job done. That really gave me this sort of reality that I can accomplish so much. So like that now allows me to, because of that, I want to give other people that chance. I want to give other people who maybe aren't as confident, maybe who are sort of self-centered to themselves, a chance to see that they can do whatever they want. So a chance to be like, I think of myself as a leader, but I don't want to be the only leader. I want to be able to give others the chance to become that leader, that confidence that I once didn't have.
That's great.
That what you just said there kind of reminded me of a saying that a good leader doesn't stand in front, but knows when to step aside and let other people.
We talk a lot about stepping up and stepping back around here, so I think that's sort of a perfect tie in there, Joey. Definitely.
That's great.
That's awesome. So there's a lot for folks who are watching. There's a lot of information on how these two programs very intentionally and very carefully structure the curriculum and the work to support this amazing impact. I mean, that's fantastic, guys. These are some of the things that you're walking away with, in addition to concrete skills as well. So we don't have to go into we talked a bit about how you structure it, and there's a lot of information in the toolkit and on selpractices.org. But I'd love to know from Poppy and Emma if there are things that you didn't get to talk about the structure, and how you're very intentionally and deliberately nurturing and cultivating this sense of teamwork and of role shifting in a way that's very that has confidence and fluidity for the young people.
You want to start, Poppy?
Go ahead, you got it.
Okay. So we're talking, there are many different elements of the program that I think really embody this sort of domain of teamwork. And as Josh pointed out, some of them happen in the wood shop, and a lot of them take place in, managing sort of social dynamics and also out on the water. So one of the elements we didn't get to talk about today is that we actually take these boats out on the Delaware River and we sail them and we row them. And there is never a time when there's one person in a boat. So you're starting to get the vision that that is always a team opportunity. And if you can imagine a boat with 6 oars, an 18-foot rowboat that Josh built last year with 6 oars that requires, 6 different people to be rowing at the same time. And those oars, if they're not going in rhythm, are just smashing into each other, and you're going to get carried right down the river. So, there's one person who we train and help teach sort of about being what's called a coxswain, the person who instructs the others about the rhythm of rowing. But, the others could commit a mutiny. The coxswain could jump out and swim for shore. So there are lots of ways to jump ship, so to speak, and get out of your team if you should want to. And I'm proud to say that we've never had a student decide that they can't work with the team on their boat and just jump out and try and swim for shore. So I would say, that's just one of many really clear examples. But I would say certainly all of our on-water activities really require an incredible level of teamwork and collaboration.
Yeah, and I would say the same thing is true here. When we think about the fact that we're never going to be just working by ourselves in our life, that we're trying to build very relevant and experiences that are transferable for the students from their Outward Bound course to whether it's school or work or college or relationships, so that they're understanding not just about the skills that they have to contribute and to gain, but also how their team can help better those. And so, we're really aware that both the individual and the team are developing together. And if there's a bump for either one of those things, there's a ripple effect for each person and for the team that the team has to work through. They have to figure out how to support. They are literally responsible for caring for each other in really challenging situations. And they all kind of get up the mountain together, or they don't. So it's a powerful experience when that happens, and you see them beginning to care for one another, to check in with each other, to say, I got your back, and other people are sharing that same sentiment. So there's kind of this duality of growth that's happening, and we know individuals grow inside of strong teams. And we believe that the Outward Bound course is not over when they receive their graduation pins. Their Outward Bound course just begins at that point. And our hope and goal for them is that they transfer those skills, whether it's team building skills or leadership skills, into whatever situation that they've now put themselves in, that those skills and that learning continues forward for them, much like Joey has already kind of talked about, where he's applying some of those things now. Oh, I can't hear her.
I'm on mute, sorry. Thank you. Thanks, team, for bringing me back. I'm very, very sad to say that we've reached the end of our discussion, but I just want to say a big thank you to all 4 of you, and that it is, I know that the programs are very intentionally being clear and careful, as we talked about, to build these skills, and it's clearly working. Talking to Joey and Josh, and these are skills that will last you for a lifetime, and that all of us need to work on, and they're resume items. These are very real things. These SEL skills are very, very real things. So thank you all for this. A quick, as we wrap this conversation up, I just want to do a quick promo for our upcoming conversations. We're going to do more video chats with young people in the programs and practitioners. The next one's on May 25th. Probably will also be on Blab. We're experimenting with Blab and Google Hangouts and other platforms to see what's the most versatile and useful. And we'd love feedback from both participants, you guys on video with us, and folks who were following along. But as you can see on the screen, the next video chat is May 25th. And a quick reminder to Poppy and Emma, don't close yourselves out. I'll close us out so we can save this recording. And we will share it, and we'll have a recap and a blog that Emma is fantastically generously offered to do about this conversation and about the issue of teamwork in general. Thank you all, everybody who followed along and watched, and thanks to the 4 of you and Kylie. And we're looking forward to the next chat in the series. Keep up the great work, guys.
Thank you, Caitlin.
Good to see you all.
Thanks for having us.
See you too. Take care, all.